Sarah's friends envied her perfect life, while Sarah believed she'd spend it all with her husband. But fate seemed to have other plans for their family. Sitting in a diner booth, Sarah reminisced about her past life and how she'd missed the obvious signs. After a promotion, Michael started coming home late from work. Sarah wasn't worried, thinking a bigger paycheck meant more responsibility. She tried her best to make his home life relaxing. Every evening, Michael expected a hot dinner, a soothing bath, and a supportive wife. Sarah blamed his growing irritation, which he no longer bothered to hide, on fatigue. "Honey, you seem out of it lately. We haven't gone out in ages. You're home super late, often after midnight. Maybe you shouldn't work so much. Focus on family. I miss you," Sarah expressed her concerns. "Sarah, I'm the one bringing in the money. What do you prefer? Living comfortably and rarely seeing me, or scraping by and having me around all the time? I bet you'd pick comfort." "Who wouldn't?" Michael replied dismissively. "Honey, Sarah, please don't bother me with these silly questions. I give you enough money so you're not stuck at grocery stores comparing prices and complaining about how expensive everything is," Michael responded rudely. His harsh tone stung, and Sarah fell silent, turning away. Michael buried himself in his phone, oblivious to her distress. It wasn't long before Sarah met a coworker who regularly emailed with Michael at work. One evening, Michael came home earlier than usual, surprising and exciting Sarah. She thought they'd finally have some quality time together. However, Michael quickly dampened her spirits. "Quick shower, then back to work. No dinner, gotta run. Business dinner at a restaurant tonight. Some things to handle. Late again, Sarah. Please, don't track my every move or call me all the time like you usually do. No embarrassing me in front of the bosses and their wives," Michael explained. "Okay," Sarah sighed, deflated. "Michael, when will you have time for me?" "Soon, Sarah, soon. I promise," Michael replied. "Iron a fresh shirt for me while I shower, please." He tossed his phone, keys, and wallet on the hall table and disappeared into the bathroom. As the shower roared, Sarah dutifully went to the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out a crisp white shirt. She laid it on the ironing board, plugged in the iron, and reached for the remote to turn up the TV. That's when Michael's phone started ringing. "Michael," Sarah called out. "Your phone. Michael, can you hear me?" The shower drowned her out. Turning off the iron, Sarah walked to the nightstand as the call ended. But there was an alert on the screen, a new WhatsApp message from Michael. Sarah knew his phone password. She'd discovered it one night out of curiosity. But she'd never felt the need to snoop. There'd never been a reason to. Sarah entered the password, opened the message, and burst into tears. An unknown woman had sent Michael a nude photo with the caption, "How long have you been waiting? I've been waiting for you." Michael, stepping out of the shower with a towel around him, was startled when a white shirt came flying at his face. "Sarah, are you crazy?" he exclaimed. "What is this?" Sarah's hands trembled as she held the phone up to Michael's eyes. "What is this? I'm asking you. What is it?" Sarah, her husband's eyes darted around. "It's not what you think. It's probably a coworker messing around. Look, you see the number isn't even saved. Why are you jumping to conclusions? It's just a dumb joke, that's all. You've been cheating on me for a whole year with this joke." Sarah's voice shook with anger. "Michael, don't play me for a fool. I know everything. I read the entire conversation. How could you? How could you live with yourself? And it's all your fault. Are you even a wife? After we got married, all you care about is groceries, the market, and bills. We don't even have anything to talk about anymore. Now you're talking. There's nothing left to talk about with me? Fine, have it your way. Go, don't be late. They're probably waiting for you at your fancy business dinner. Just go." "Michael, I don't want to see you." Silently, Michael changed his clothes and left. Sarah, after crying her eyes out, called her best friend Margaret, who lived in another city. As Sarah poured out her heart, Margaret listened attentively and made a suggestion. "Why don't you come visit me? You need a change of scenery and some time to think. Let Michael search for you, get a little worried. Maybe then he'll realize what he's lost." "Thanks for the invitation, Margaret. I'll think about it. Maybe for now, I'll stay at my mom's, and then we'll see." When Michael returned home, he found neither Sarah nor her belongings. His wife had left without even leaving a note. "Well, let her go," Michael thought. "I can live without her. Look how insecure she is. Maybe she'll be less likely to snoop through other people's phones." Without Sarah, Michael managed to survive for exactly 3 days. On the 4th day, he decided to visit his mother-in-law, Karen Smith. However, she was well aware of his behavior and didn't let him anywhere near the door. "Get away from here and never come back," Karen Smith stated firmly. "I will do everything in my power to make sure Sarah divorces you. Who gave you the right to treat my daughter like that? Leave, and don't you dare show your face around here again." Michael realized he couldn't expect any support from his mother-in-law and obediently left. As he reached the building's exit, he unexpectedly bumped into Sarah. "Sarah, wait. Please wait. Let me explain," Michael pleaded desperately. "I'm so sorry. I don't know what got into me. I promise it was a one-time thing. I'll never look at another woman again. Come back home, please. I feel lost without you." Sarah remained silent and headed back towards the entrance, tears streaming down her face. Seeing her pain, she decided to seek comfort with Margaret. Sarah stayed with Margaret for 2 weeks, during which time she managed to find some peace and decided to give Michael a second chance. Meanwhile, Michael searched for his wife tirelessly, but with no success. Sarah's phone was off, and she wasn't at her mother's house. In his desperation, Michael even resorted to breaking into someone else's apartment, searching it thoroughly just to confirm that Karen Smith hadn't been lying. Sarah arrived at her apartment alone. As Michael opened the door, he least expected to see her standing on the threshold. "Sarah, where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you. Are you okay? Sarah, why aren't you saying anything?" Michael asked, his voice filled with concern. "Can I come in?" Sarah finally spoke. They headed to the kitchen for a proper talk. "Don't worry, it's all over now. I changed jobs within 2 weeks, transferred to a different department, so I won't see her again. I promise you." "Sarah, this was a one-time thing," Adam said, hoping to reassure her. Adam's apology was interrupted by a knock at the apartment door. He went to answer it and spoke in a hushed tone. "Mom, I'll call you back later. It's not a good time." He closed the door, but didn't hang up the phone, probably hoping his mother would end the call. Unbeknownst to him, Linda Johnson, who couldn't stand Sarah, accidentally heard part of their conversation. "Adam, do you realize that your betrayal has shattered me? I can't even imagine how we can move forward. How can I ever forget it? How can I go back to trusting you?" Sarah expressed her hurt and confusion. "I promise that from this day forward, everything will change. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. But please, don't leave. Don't leave me alone. I feel terrible without you," Adam pleaded, his voice filled with sincere regret. The phone lay forgotten on the table beside him as the call from Mom continued. Linda Johnson, Adam's mother, only ended the call after he finished apologizing and Sarah forgave him. "Blast it," Linda Johnson muttered under her breath, sitting in her own apartment. "She even forgave my son. How can I get rid of her?" The next morning, Linda Johnson decided to pay a surprise visit to her disliked daughter-in-law and see how she planned to live with such a burden. After seeing Adam off to work, Sarah tackled her usual household chores: cleaning, dusting, dishes, and a mountain of laundry. By lunchtime, she finally sat down in the living room to relax when the doorbell rang. It was Adam's mother, her mother-in-law. Sarah plastered on a polite smile. "Hello, Linda Johnson. It's been a while. Please come in. My mom should be coming over with some things. We can have tea together." "Yes, let's have tea," Linda Johnson said with a fake smile. "May I come in?" "Of course, come in." Half an hour later, Karen Smith, Sarah's own mother, arrived. While Sarah was setting the table, Linda Johnson asked a pointed question. "Tell me, Sarah, how does it feel to be taken advantage of?" Karen Smith stared at her sister-in-law, confused. "Linda, what are you talking about?" "Don't you know?" Linda Johnson sneered. "My son finally found a replacement for your good-for-nothing daughter. He has a mistress. He listened to me after all. Yesterday, your son was groveling, begging her to take him back, begging not to break up the family. I accidentally heard their conversation since Adam didn't hang up the phone when I called." Sarah's anger flared. "That's a lie, Linda Johnson. That's not what happened at all. He begged me not to leave him. Why are you making up stories about me?" she shot back. "How can it be made up when you let him walk all over you? A woman with any self-respect wouldn't put up with cheating, yet you cling to Michael like a wet rag. I came here to ask, do you have any dignity? Will you forgive Michael for anything?" Linda Johnson taunted. "Linda," Karen Jones interjected, fuming. "Shut your mouth. Those words could get you a slap across the face." "From you? Karen, you crack me up. You wouldn't dare," Linda Johnson retorted with a snide laugh. Sarah quickly stepped in, separating the bickering mothers. After getting them into opposite corners, she grabbed her phone and dialed Michael's number, demanding he come home right away. Michael confirmed both Sarah's and his mother's stories, admitting he'd begged Sarah to return. "Mom, why do you always stick your nose in things that don't concern you? I never asked for your advice on my marriage, and I never will. It was hard enough convincing Sarah to come back, and you're messing everything up." Michael scolded his mother. "I'll keep messing things up until you file for divorce. You married beneath you, and it's an embarrassment," Linda Johnson snapped. The heated argument continued between the family members, with Sarah growing weary of her mother-in-law's insults. Finally, she yelled, "That's enough. I'm done." Sarah swiftly packed a bag with her remaining belongings and left with her mother, returning to her parents' apartment. Michael kicked his mother out and firmly told her never to show up uninvited again. Linda Johnson, fuming, swore off speaking to her son. Despite Michael's hopes of patching things up with his wife, Sarah kept her distance, still deeply hurt by his betrayal. The idea of divorce weighed heavily on her mind. They agreed to keep their arguments away from their child, wanting to shield them from the turmoil. I hope you enjoyed this story. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more awesome stories in the future. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey, and we'll see you next video.